Welcome to the best football show. I'm Brian Baldinger, and let's get right to it. Aaron Rodgers is a Steeler. Aaron Rodgers is signing today to be a Pittsburgh Steeler, one-year deal. Now, you can find this podcast wherever you get, download your free Odyssey app, subscribe to the show. You can find me all over Baldy NFL. Did something with Aaron Rodgers yesterday in anticipation. So here we are. It is June 6th, a day that lives in infamy in U.S. history, but also a day that the Steelers have got their quarterback for the upcoming season. So a lot of look. This wasn't the Steelers' first choice. This wasn't Aaron Rodgers' first choice, but this is where it is. On June 6th, Aaron Rodgers is going to Pittsburgh. I'll tell you a quick story. I believe it was the year after the pandemic, or maybe the year before the pandemic, maybe 2019, maybe 2021. I was doing a game in Green Bay at Lambeau Field, national radio. It was Green Bay and Pittsburgh. And Steeler Nation in the Terrible Towels, had invaded Green Bay, Wisconsin. And they were set up pregame, two great fan bases. The Steelers Nation was set up to tailgate for the game. And they were poking fun at all the Packer fans, because this was the end of the Ben Roethlisberger era. It was coming to an end. It wasn't the official end, but it was coming to an end around this time. And Ben was hanging on. He had an elbow problem the year before, played 2 games. Anyways, I'm there, and I'm walking down Lombardi Drive to the state. I like parking a ways and taking it all in when I do a game at Lambeau. So I'm just walking down Lombardi Drive, and I'm listening to these Steeler fans telling Packer fans, we're going to steal your quarterback. We're going to steal your quarterback, and we're going to go win a Super Bowl. I'll never forget that. And they were laughing about it, and it was fun. It was all in good fun, and it was funny. And here's the Steelers taking Aaron Rodgers. Now, he's 41 years old. He's coming off a season where he wasn't very good. And one of the statistics, when you look at some of these quarterbacks, I don't care if it's Tom Brady, if it's Drew Brees, if it's Ben Roethlisberger, if it's Peyton Manning, all these guys have led the league in yards per reception. The elite number in this business, in fact, Lamar Jackson led the NFL last year with 8.8 yards per attempt, 8.8 yards per attempt. But Aaron Rodgers has led the league in this statistic at 9.2 yards per attempt. Drew Brees has led the league in that regard. Tom Brady led the league in yards per attempt. Peyton Manning led the league in yards per attempt. And then you look at these guys, all of them, at the end of their careers, age 38, 39, 40, 41. And all of a sudden, they're averaging 6.8 yards per attempt, 6.5 yards per attempt. It can drop as much as 2.5 yards an attempt. And all that is honestly, these guys don't hold the ball long enough to take deep shots, or their arm isn't good enough to get the ball down there. One or the other, or both. Aaron Rodgers, for a lifetime is about 7.8 yards per attempt, but he's been in the 9s and the upper 8s. Okay. When he could move, he could wait for Jordan Nelson to get down the field, James Jones to get down the field, pick a guy. Devontae Adams, he could wait on those guys, and he could move and buy time and then launch missiles. Well, last year, Aaron Rodgers last year was 6.78 yards per attempt, and really has not been above 7 for the last 3 years. Now, obviously, 1 year he played 4 snaps, so this doesn't really count. But what happens is, and so I'm only throwing one stat out there because this is the decline that you see from all these elite players as they get older. They can't hold the ball a lot longer, either because they can't move to buy time. They don't, they don't take deep shots. They just want to get completions. The run game isn't good enough. They just get the ball out of their hands. Well, last year when you watched Aaron Rodgers, he was in a hurry to get the ball out of his hands. Now, some of it was his ankle and knee were banged up, okay? And he wasn't as mobile as he wants to be. Now, look, he's coming off an Achilles tear from the year before. Who knows what the Achilles ever really felt like. Could he get the spring to move the way he once did? He was an elite movement of a player. Like he could extend plays with the best of them. He wasn't the best runner, wasn't trying to be the best runner, but he could extend plays with the best players. He had a great awareness of the pocket, moving the pocket, scramble drill, you name it. He was elite. I don't know if he's elite anymore. And the older you get, like even the year that he tore his Achilles, this time of the year, 2 years ago, he had a strained calf. He wasn't even practicing. He was riding a bike out there at practice. Like he had a strained calf, and then 4 plays in, he tears his Achilles. Then last year, he was banged up, and at the end of Denver, week 4, at the end of Minnesota, week 6, at the end of Seattle, golden chances to win the game, golden opportunities, couldn't make the throw. There was a reason why. Okay, that's one thing. Now, I'm not down on Aaron. He's the Steelers' best chance to compete with the Ravens, compete with the Bengals, win that division. He gives them the best chance. Whatever condition he's in, he gives them the best chance. All right, so the Steelers got better today with Aaron Rodgers signing. But, there was a reason why he wanted Devontae Adams in New York. He wanted Alan Lazard. He wanted Randall Cobb. He wanted these guys because here's the thing. Look, Aaron has had one of the great arms in the history of this game. That isn't debatable. He has one of the unique minds in the game, what he sees, being able to see 12 men on the field, hard counts, smoke routes, corners 9 yards off, ball's going to Devontae, ball's going to Garrett Wilson. We'll take the 7, we'll move on. Like, he has one of the unique minds in how he sees the game. Okay. But with that, everybody else has to be on the same page. And I'm concerned that Aaron isn't going to get the time necessary to get on the same page with DK Metcalf, Roman Wilson, Robert Woods, Darnell Washington, Caleb Johnson, the rookie back out of Iowa, Jaylen Warren. He's learning a new offense for the first time. Think about it. When he left Green Bay and went to New York, he had his buddy, Nathaniel Hackett, and it was basically his offense. It was his language. He didn't have to learn a lot. Like, he's learning, Arthur Smith's offense. Now, he's going to be able to convert a lot of this stuff. Like, he's been around. He understands concepts. It might be called something different, but it'll be the same concept. But still, he's got to learn a new offense, as does almost everybody else he's going to be throwing to. The guys I just mentioned are all new. So they're all learning the new offense. And now Aaron wants to learn the new offense and play at the highest level without a whole lot of time practicing. I remind people, this is not the designated hitter. You can't just in baseball, you could take Aaron Judge and put him in the middle of the Red Sox lineup, and probably the Red Sox would be the favorite to win the World Series. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. This isn't, all right, let's just take Aaron Rodgers. Let's take MVP Aaron Rodgers and plop him in the middle of a pretty good Steelers team, and let's go to the Super Bowl. It just doesn't work like that. I've worked with quarterbacks, not Aaron Rodgers, but I've worked with quarterbacks off the street that had to come in and learn a new offense. It's not easy. And so I would just say, look, it's a good day. It's a unique situation, signing on June 6th. They got 3 days of minicamp next week. All right. He'll get 3 days. All right. He'll learn some of the offense. He'll call some plays. He'll get a little bit of a rhythm for the team, how they practice. All that stuff is important. Go out to Latrobe. I mean, is he going to take every snap over Mason Rudolph, over Will Howard? He'll take most of them, most of the important ones. But is that going to be enough to get ready? Because week 1, they go to MetLife Stadium to play the Jets. I mean, the schedule makers knew this was happening. Here's Justin Fields leaving Pittsburgh, quarterback in the Jets. All right, here's Aaron coming into Pittsburgh, going up again. Like, the storylines write themselves. It's going to be fascinating. But, is he going to be good enough to compete? Baltimore had one of the great offenses in football last year. Lamar was off the charts. ridiculous. 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, ran for 915 yards. It was a ridiculous offense. Derrick Henry runs for almost 2,000 yards. It was one of the best offenses in the history of the NFL. They just couldn't get past Buffalo in the playoff. They're up against that. Joe Burrow engineered one of the great offenses. Okay, so there's a lot. There's a lot there. I'm glad we need great quarterbacks. We need great. We need stars. Stars win games. Aaron's a star. I just would say to the Pittsburgh Steelers, like, just be patient. Like, I don't know if this is going to work right away. It might. But generally, I don't care how good the quarterback is. When the quarterback's a declining player, declining health, and he doesn't get a lot of time in a new offense with new personnel, it might not look as crisp as you want it to look. One team that did look very crisp yesterday is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At 0600 yesterday morning, I got in my car here in Fort Lauderdale, and I drove to Tampa, and I arrived at 10:15. They were on the field at 10:35. And I saw Todd Bowles. I saw Jason Light, the PR team. Kalijah Cansey come over and said hello to me. Talked to a lot of players. Baker was out there making some jokes about my finger. I got to tell you, Tampa Bay is going to be a difficult out for a lot of teams. Like, they're going to be a very good team. They lost to Washington in the first round of the playoffs last year, 23-20. There was a weird fumble quarterback exchange with the center, Graham Barton. Baker lost it. Washington scored. They couldn't overcome it. I mean, it was a nip and tuck game. They had Josh Hayes, nothing against Josh Hayes, practice squad player, out there playing right corner, going up against Terry McLaurin on a dig route, got beat, touchdown. Washington takes the lead. This is a good team. They're fun to be around. Baker's a hell of a practice player, hell of a player. One of 10 quarterbacks in the history of the game. One of 10 quarterbacks in the history of the game to throw over 40 touchdown passes in over 4,500 yards. Only 10 guys in the history of the game have done that. He did it last year. And you get Mike Evans, and you get Jalen McMillan, last year's, a draft pick from Washington. And you get a rookie, Emeka Egbuka, coming in. And Chris Godwin will get healthy. And you get Bucky Irvin back for year 2 and Rachaad White. And the best part is they're one of the few teams in the NFL that returns all 5 starters on the offensive line. Tristan Wirfs, an all-world left tackle. Ben Bredeson took the job over at left guard, started every game last year. Graham Barton, rookie sensation at center, started all but one game last year. Cody Mock, now entering his 3rd year from North Dakota State, and Luke Gedeke at right tackle. They're coming back, all 5 guys, and the same offensive line coach. It's a good group. They can run the ball. And so the change for the 4th year or 5th year in a row now is a new offensive play caller, Josh Grizzard. Now, Josh has been there, was the quarterback passing coach last year. He gets elevated with Liam Cohen leaving. But Todd Bowles, I talked to Todd about this. He interviewed a lot of guys. He interviewed maybe as many as a half a dozen coordinators to come in and take over for Liam Cohen. Remember, he had to do this the year before when Zach Robinson left to become the head coach in Carolina. Had to do it the year before. So it's nothing new, but I think they got a good guy. 34 years old. He's young. Just listening to him call plays to Baker yesterday. It looked good. It was a good practice. 2 hours, 45 minutes in 90-plus degree heat. I loved it. It was very competitive, interactive, back and forth. And then you just look at the leadership that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have. I'm talking about their best players are their best leaders. Mike Evans, the Levante David, Antoine Winfield, Vita Vea, Tristan Wirfs, Baker Mayfield. I mean, leaders, natural leaders, like to work, great players, show up every week, true pros. And then I got a chance to meet a lot of the young players yesterday. I know Kalijah Cansey going into his 3rd year now. I've known him for 2 years. Great young player, okay? 3 technique for him. And I've known Hassan Reddick since he was at Temple. He'll be ready to go. We'll see what Hassan Reddick we get. For the Bucs fans, you hope it's 2022 Hassan Reddick with 19 and a half sacks. But, last year they draft Graham Barton in the first round. They draft Jalen McMillan, Graham Barton, all those guys starting at the end of the year. Bucky Irving averaging 5.8 yards a carry. Like sensational. This year they go out, okay, they had problems at corner last year, a lot of injuries. All right, weakened secondary. All right. This year they go out and draft Emeka Buka, okay, Benjamin Morrison, Josh Parrish. And all three of those guys might start. In fact, I stayed after practice yesterday and I talked to Emeka Buka and Benjamin Morrison. I mean, they're explaining plays that happen in practice. A Buka, like a delayed release that you wouldn't notice unless he told you and why he delayed release and what it did to the defense when he scored against him in a red zone drill. And then you talk to Benjamin Morrison, who was hurt last year at Notre Dame. And all he wants to do right now, and here's the thing, it's not just Benjamin Morrison. It's all players who love the game. When the game's taken away from you because of injury, because of early retirement, all you think about is getting back on the field. So to Benjamin Morrison, to be out there 3 days in a row in 90-plus degree heat, and everybody's sort of dying and wilting and trying to, hydrate up and all that stuff you got to do in the Florida heat. Like, he's like, I'm just so thankful I'm out here. I don't care how long we're out here. I don't care how many days in a row. I'm just so enjoying being out here on the field and playing. And then you listen to the coaches and you just listen to Todd Bowles and Jason Light, the GM, and you just, like, they're smart guys. Like I told Todd Bowles yesterday, like, you can't teach IQ. Either you're smart or you're not smart. You're football smart or you're not. And these guys are smart guys. You can listen to them, explain the game, talk about the game. And that's to go with the rookie class from a year ago. Like, they're reinforced. And so the veterans see Emeka Buka comes in and he works. And Mike Evans is paying attention. And then Benjamin Morrison is coming in. And there's Levante David paying attention. Anton Winfield paying attention. You're like, man, these guys get it. They understand it. They understand culture, work ethic, how important practice is. They've won the division under Todd Bowles 4 years in a row. Like, I believe it's going to be 5. And I believe that this is a team that can compete in the NFC. Like, I'm saying it right now on June 6th. Tampa, there's Philly, there's the Rams, there's a bunch of Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota. There's good teams in the NFC. You can't talk about the NFC and who might come out of it this year, including Washington. I don't want to leave anybody off. San Francisco's going to rebound with the weekend schedule. Seattle, Mike McDonald's second year. Like, it's going to be a wild. But you can't talk about the NFC, who might come out of it, and not talk about Tampa Bay. Baker's in a great spot. They've got a good team. They're reinforced with a lot of good young talent at key positions. And I had a great day yesterday. Really enjoyed it. Thank you, Todd Bowles and Jason Light, for letting me come in and, do what I did yesterday. That was fun. And that's been the best football show here. Aaron Rodgers, the Steeler. The Bucs are for real. And we'll be back here next week talking more football. I'm sure I'm going to get to an OTA or a mini camp or two next week to talk to you all about. Have a good weekend, everybody. I'll see you next week.